In this video, I'm going over what's in my kit as a commercial cinematographer. Now, to give you more context, I'm not just a commercial director of photography. I also am partner in a video production company where we do an array of jobs, from socials to branded content to full-scale commercials. So this kit has developed over time to work on cinema cameras as well as a simple Sony FX3. So there's going to be a lot of things that I'm going over, a lot of things that I've picked up over the years, things that do work, things that don't work. So let's get into it. All right, so the first thing is that we're gonna bring this guy out. And this is my shape bag. So generally when I am prepping a camera, especially something as big as the Sony Venice or a Mini LF or something like that, I have a separate dedicated camera bag to that. And then I bring my own shape bag, which has a bunch of different things that I like to use, lighting, little accessories, things to solve problems that have come up all the time when you're working on set. So Shape isn't a fantastic company. There's also so many different other bag style companies. So this is what I just like because it's Canadian made. So before we take this off and start going into individual products, I just kind of want to open it up and show you the layout of what I have going on here. I have my monitor, all my cables, and some other stuff that we're gonna get into. And then generally all these little knickknacks that go on camera, as well as measurement tools, as well as hand tools as well. And then just a bunch of different side pockets with different tools as well. In the front here, I have my go-to lights, which are my MCs. And there's a lot of other things on here, but I just wanted to show you the layout because I don't want this on the table the whole time I'm talking about this video. So let's get this off. And the first thing you want in your kit as a cinematographer or just any video professional is lots of extra cables. So right now, the Venice is built out with a bunch of my cables and my SDI cables, as well as dedicated cables for this camera, just because I know what it needs and I know what cables can potentially fail just due to overuse and everything that. So I have doubles of everything. But this is my old bag that had a bunch of other cables in it. And these are the old style of SDI cables I have before I got custom ones made, just because of evolution of things and just having better equipment as the time has gone on. And then in the back here, I just have, again, another set of bunch of extra cables that I need. So again, I have USB-C cables, have micro USB, any USB cable that I could think of, 2-pin LEMO, a phone charger, NPF to DTAP dummy battery, and then the list goes on and on when it comes to power cables, as well as just signal cables when it comes to video. So I just have 2 of these dedicated to all the cables I need, and if it's a custom job that has something specific, it'll go in this bag because I have some extra spots. Next, we can go into my other little Shape cable bag, as well as my MCs that I always keep in the front pocket. So these are the Generation 1s, but I'm looking to hook up to the Generation 2s or the newest version of that. Just these are great little pockets of light to have anywhere, or even throw on the camera as a key light, because that's a lot of people are doing now. And then instead of the standard aperture case, I like to look at everything. I like to look at a cable bag and know exactly what's in it. And that's why I love these ones, again, made by Shape as well. I think the logo's here, yeah, right here. And then I have the charging cable right in the back here, and then just all my gels. This is just easy for me. It stacks up pretty nicely. Again, this came with the case, but I don't really like it. And this just fits in my bag very nicely. And then speaking of organization, the next thing is I have this little guy, which is a 3D printed holder for all my Sony batteries. Now, again, this is not something specific and it depends on the job or what camera I have, but I generally always have one of these with me, especially when I'm using the FX3, because it just holds the batteries very nicely. And I didn't design this one. This is one I found on Bamboo Studio by somebody else who created it, but this is just a very good system that I like to use because I hate just throwing all my batteries in one place. I've done it so many times and you end up losing them, and these are very expensive. So one place for all of them. I have multiple of these holders and it's a nice pack of 4. The next thing I have in my kit is this small Pelican case. This is a 1040, and this is my exposed case for my cards. At the beginning of the day, I usually have all my cards in here because I give it to my first AC or the DIT or whoever's working, and then they know that, okay, this is where all the exposed cards are going at the end of the day, so I can back up if I need to do as well. If you are getting into more cinema cameras with bigger media and everything like that, I recommend getting an exposed case, or even if you're still working with SD cards, get a separate case and label it exposed, everything that is already done, and deal with, at the end of the day, put it in that so you're not running into the terrifying, absolutely terrifying thing if you overwrite a card that you just shot on. So always have an exposed case, and this is what I use. Then in my kit, not necessarily in my shape bag specifically, I do own my own monitor. If you're serious about cinematography and you want to get into this, I would recommend investing in a really good monitor. Obviously, when you rent a camera, you can get a monitor with your package, but I always just prefer to have my own, and it has really helped me, especially as an owner operator specifically. And then in this kit, I have the small HD Cine 7, as well as a cage around that. And this cage is by Nitsi. And this monitor I've been using for the past 3 years, and it's amazing. It has the red license on it. I'm looking to get a Venice one, but I don't really need that either because all the functions on the camera are pretty nice. Really depends on the camera model. And then I recently just picked up this Magic Arm, the Talos Magic Arm by Mofage. I probably am butchering that pronunciation, so if you guys are watching, I'm so sorry. And then in addition to that, which you're gonna see in my kit more, I'm gonna explain these later, is a quick release system for my monitor specifically. So if I just tighten up this monitor arm, and then you can see we already have it already mounted on the Venice. So this is a quick release anytime I need to take off and on my monitor. And I really like these because they are the same piece made twice. So I can just put one on the back if I needed to put my monitor on the back for some reason, or if I needed to put on the side. These are great, and I have multiple of these, which you're gonna see in terms of the small little things that I have in my kit. So I always like to keep my monitor separate in its own case. I do not ever throw it in here, and whenever it's being packed up, I always tell my AC to put my monitor away, especially when it's traveling to location, because I've seen monitors break, and I've personally scratched and cracked screens of other monitors as well. So hard lesson learned, but this is also in my kit. So next thing are my Allen keys. And you're gonna be like, why do you have 4 sets of Allen keys? Can't you just use a multi-tool by like small rig? The funny thing is I do have one in my kit just in case. And this is all just of what I've learned, rigging a bunch of things, just working on cameras and stuff like that. So usually there are a lot of confusion in terms of Allen keys, and just to give you guys the basics, I know a lot of you guys know that, there's metric and there's imperial. Imperial is going to be a lot of your fractions, like 5/16, a quarter 20, 3/8 and stuff like that. And then metric is all like 10 mil, 5 mil screws and stuff like that. Generally, you're not running into a lot of metric size fasteners, but it does happen. You're generally gonna use imperial. So I like to have both of them. And the reason I have these ones, if I really am on a camera cart like this, then I can just set them off to the side and work on them because they're loose and they can easily fly off. And then generally I have these in my pocket, which are, generally I'm using cargo pants, so they fit in there really nicely. And these ones I picked up from Princess Auto. So all you Canadians know what Princess Auto is. Power Fist brand is amazing. For all my US folk, it's the Harbor Freight. Basically, Princess Auto is the Harbor Freight of Canada. And if you're looking to pick up any tools, do not buy them from camera stores. Do not buy them from the Home Depot. Buy them from places like these, where you can get quality things that have kind of weird quirks and stuff. Usually when you're working with a lot of these tools, these guys just keep moving out of the way and everything like this. This one has a lock that I can move it and put it in this orientation if I need to get more torque on something, but if I want to do something a little bit fast, it can do that. So this just has that locking ratchet system that I found these years ago. I don't know if they still make them, but these are a great investment, and always just have multiple sets of Allen keys, because you can even see from one of these guys, one of them's missing. So I probably have to talk to my AC or whoever used these last, but whatever. And then going into some other tools, I also have adjustable wrenches. So this is an adjustable wrench. You can get wrenches sized for a bunch of things, but generally it's for putting easy rig balls on, or tightening nuts, or even tightening stands if I need to get a little bit more involved. But the problem with this only goes to 1.25 inches, and the nuts associated with Mitchell mounts, which we're gonna get into later, are a bit bigger. So I just picked up one of these. It's just a set of adjustables, but it can go a lot bigger if I need to wrench down on something a little bit bigger. And this is just in my kit. I have a set of these for my toolbox at home as well, but I just like to have them just in case, because I've ran into situations where I can't tighten down something that is a little bit bigger. And again, you're gonna have people dedicated to this when you're on bigger sets with a key grip and everything. But again, to give you guys a little bit more context, I just don't work on those commercials. I run a production company as well and work on a variety of things. So it's important for me to have a bunch of tools at my disposal. I'm not just gonna ask somebody to do it. Usually I'm doing a lot of these things myself. Okay, the next thing is a little fun one. And if you guys are new to the channel, you haven't seen these before, but a lot of you people know that these are magnets with 1/4-20 screws on them, and you can get them from Amazon, and these are absolutely amazing. For example, if I wanted to put an MC on a stand or something that isn't necessarily easy to clamp to or something like that. And then if anything is magnetic, I can attach it to it. We're dealing with all aluminum now, so aluminum's not magnetic, but here is a cool trick. I know we're gonna kind of reveal our set here, but for example, if I want to put this on a garage door, bang. But the cool trick is on the corner of walls, there's something called a corner bead, which is a steel reinforcement of the corner, and then you can stick your lights to it. Obviously, this is not really convenient if I'm just lighting over there, but if I want to put a little top light on something or have a light up higher, that is perfect, and it's not going anywhere, especially for these little lights. So that's just an example of why I have these magnets in them in my kit. But more specifically, I like to use them for tube lights and the Titan tubes, because I own those in-house as well. And then those are perfect just for putting in a bunch of places. And they sit in the cup holder of my shape bag, because generally a bottle doesn't fit in there, so that's why I put them in. And they always stay there. They never leave at all, and it's fantastic. In this front pocket where I do have all my wrenches, I do have a bunch of zip ties. I don't know why there are all these multicolored ones. If you're gonna get zip ties, just get a black or even clear or something like that. These are super useful for like almost everything. Being in a situation you just wanna mount something quick, zip tie. These are great. We're now moving into the lid of my shape bag where there's just a bunch of random stuff that I have. It'll be actually better if I now put this up here onto the side and you guys can see what's going on here. So this is kind of organized, not really. And then you can see I have a random USB cable sitting up there. But here I just have some Velcro. It's really good to organize camera, or if I'm just trying to put a audio transmitter on, I do have one singular bongo tie in here, but usually I have like 4 or 5 in here. And then I have some tools. Even though I have a bunch of those Allen keys, I do have this small rig tool, which gives me a bunch of the standard size that you'll find on cameras. But I really like about this tool is the flat head that you get from it. A lot of the times when you're dealing with camera screws, the flat in it is very large. And that thickness right there is perfect because it fits in nicely and it doesn't mar your screws. Because on the Venice specifically, with all these accessories with specialty screws and everything like that, that you only can get one of and you'll have to order again, I don't want to damage them. And overuse and over tighten with not the proper sized flatheads does damage them over time, and you'll probably see it in the experience. That's why I like to have a good flathead, and this is the only reason why I really keep this tool and I keep it in my pocket. And then another tool that I picked up, this guy, just a standard flathead that I can get some torque on. It's ARRI branded, but this is a knockoff. If you look really closely at it, you can see it's from AliExpress. And then also in here, I have a bunch of these things. Now these are the same quick release that you saw on my monitor arm as well as on my Venice, and usually I have them all around whatever camera that I'm using, or even multiple cameras so I can quickly switch a monitor between two. These are Link City. This is a company in actually Vancouver, and it's a fantastic quick release system, and it's very well made and it's very sturdy. And I love how it's basically the same part twice, so you can put them anywhere. And there's a lot of accessories that come with it that give you flexibility when mounting this specifically on your camera. Because I feel like the generic quick release systems out there, like V-Locks or even like the replicas of these ones, they don't have that flexibility, especially when you're trying to mount on a camera like this. So I have 2 in here, so that gives me a lot of mounting points to use. So we can close this guy up. And this one, I kind of have my electronic tools. So this is just a simple flashlight and laser pointer. So flashlight and laser pointer. I'm not gonna point that at the camera, but this is really good when I'm being a monitor DP. And what a monitor DP is usually on a lot of bigger commercial sets when I'm just sitting behind a monitor, I'm not operating, and I just need to really point things out on set. Now, I'm not sitting in a chair and being like, oh, you person, go do that. No, I'm just trying to communicate things a little better. Hey, if that 600 acting as a backlight right now, it's spraying a little bit more on the wall. Can we take that off a little bit? And they're being like, oh, I don't really understand which wall you're talking about. Then I'll just quickly do the laser, even though it's across the room, and point at it. So it's just really easy to communicate your ideas and everything like that. And then my other guy is this Bosch laser measure. So you can have a tape measure in your kit. I recommend having that too, but then this is just generally for location scouting, as well as if I just need to approximate something. And this is a fantastic tool. I can just point it at something and it tells me the relative distance from either the top of this, the back of this. There's so many different settings. I'm not using this to its full potential because this is an expensive unit for what it is. If you just look on Amazon for a laser measurer, you can find one. And it's a fantastic tool, especially in the location scouting process. So that's everything in my shape bag. There were 2 other things that I want to talk about that I do consider and I keep in my kit, because I do a lot of commercial work that requires a lot of weird shots. And I hate systems that require a lot of work, and I really appreciate companies who are kind of changing what the film industry looks like. And the accessories that I really want to talk about that come on almost every single job that I'm on are these Mitchell accessories. Now, this is really only, I'll put this on the other side. This is only really associated with bigger jobs when I have a Mitchell style tripod or if I'm working with a dolly. But these are fantastic pieces of equipment because of the different camera angles as well as rigging that you can do. And this is mainly associated with like high angles or offset off a tripod so you can point down so you don't see the legs. So you just have to quickly move between setups. But the standard way that Mitchell plates are done is this, with this screw, especially when it comes to the risers. And that's no problem. If you're working on something that you don't need quick access and you want to have tools on you, that's totally fine, and you have a team to do it, that's great. Pro Aim makes these risers, and they come in different sizes as well as adjustable one. I like the fixed ones, and between these 2, this gives me all the heights I need. And the cool thing about this is the quick release system that is used. So if let me tighten this down, and this is good to go. And then I would yank on this lever, and then this is really tight. And then I can put my heavy tripod head on here, no problem. And if I want to release this, generally with the screw, you have to get 2 wrenches, it's super annoying. I can release this lever, unscrew this guy, and then turn this nut, and then it's good to go. So instead of having 2 tools with a nut and a bolt, I can just do this with hands-free, and it's fantastic. Obviously, I wouldn't trust this with bigger setups if I'm rigging something that is insanely large, but for my Venice, for an FX3, for something I want to get high up in the air with an O'Connor head or a Mitchell style base, this works fantastic. And then this, obviously when you're dealing with offsets, you need something that's a little bit more beefier. And generally with a lot of rental houses or the smaller ones, they don't have a lot of these Mitchell accessories on hand because they come in dolly kits and they usually stay in that dolly kit. And I would have to generally go to someone bigger like White's or Keslow that I don't really have access to it to rent something for like 40 bucks. So this is just stuff that I've invested in myself that works fantastic. I have my AC who works with these all the time as well and asks for them when he's ever working on his project just because of how easy and simple they are. So when you're looking to evolve your kit, invest into the right equipment. The stuff that allows you to get cool shots without necessarily breaking the bank. And I feel like that's my advantage when it comes to filmmaking, because I do have that mindset of solving problems in different ways just because of my engineering background. I just wanted to dive into my kit and what I bring on every set, no matter what the style of project, even when it comes to these products as well. I have spent a lot of money on stuff that I don't need. I've sold a lot of stuff, bought stuff, and then kind of figure out exactly what I need and what works for my style of cinematography. Again, I'm not just a cinematographer, I'm also a business owner, so I'm investing in the right things and not the wrong things. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.